Hey everyone, this is Jeff from Blue Goose Collectibles, and today I wanted to talk about how to maximize profits with grading. Now, I was on Discord the other day, and someone shared a spreadsheet in which they touted how high their gem rate was at PSA, so what percentage of the cards that they submitted got PSA 10s. And they were boasting about this 83% gem mint 10 rate. And while obviously every time you send a card to PSA you want it to get the 10, however, maximizing your gem rate doesn't always maximize your profits. And here I'm going to go into a quick example about how I grade in order to maximize my profits, and that isn't always intuitive with maximizing my gem mint 10 rates. Alright, let's use the Charizard V from Brilliant Stars as an example. There have been 28,605 of these graded at PSA, of which 14,733 have gotten PSA 10s. That makes a gem rate of 51.5%. The raw cost of this card is $250, and the PSA 10 goes for $600, while the PSA 9 goes for $250. So in example 1, let's say you are a conservative grader, and you go on eBay and you source 12 near mint copies of this card. After your pre-grading, 4 of them meet your criteria to be sent off to PSA, and these are the cream of the crop. They are perfectly centered and no whitening, no issues whatsoever. All 4 come back from PSA as a 10. Now in this scenario, you sell them back on eBay, and after eBay's and shipping, you net $502 per PSA 10 that you graded. However, you still have 8 raw copies of this Charizard V that you then need to sell back on eBay to recoup some of your costs. After eBay's fee, you net $217 per every card that you did not grade. So your all-in cost for all of the raw cards is $3,000. After you sell your 4 PSA 10 copies and your 8 raw copies on eBay, you receive back $3,748 for a net profit of $748. So in example 2, let's say you're a little bit more of a risk taker. You bought 12 near mint copies off eBay, and you know what? You're just gonna send them all. Not even gonna pre-grade. Just gonna send them all straight to PSA. And you notice that, there were 4 you're pretty confident in that were going to get PSA 10s, pretty sure. But the remaining 8, you were 50-50 on. They may get PSA 10s, they may not. Of the remaining 8, 2 of the 8 end up getting that PSA 10. So these are the almost guaranteed 10s, perfect copies, and the rest you're 50-50 on. And even in a scenario in which 25% of the cards that you're 50-50 on, they get PSA 10s, 25% of them, you are netting $500 more than in example 1. Even with the additional $20 per card grading fee. And let's say, you're even a little bit more cautious, like you don't send out the worst 2. Now you are netting $500 more. Even with 33% gem mint rate on the cards that you were 50-50 on. And, what if even of those 6 that you're 50-50 on, let's say you do get 50-50 PSA 10s. Now you're almost double your profit. And it's hard to source these cards, and you can't be scared to send cards that are 50-50. You are the casino. You will win in the long run, as long as you're buying the right cards for the right prices and you aren't sending cards that are obviously off-centered or have damage like dings or creases. And those will happen. Those will factor into these. But in the long run, those 50-50 cards, you are better off sending them to PSA. You, in the long run, will net more. Now, people get scared in the scenarios in which, they are those 50-50 cards. Like, you may have a scenario in which those cards you didn't want to send, they all get PSA 9s. All 50-50 get PSA 9s. And that $197 recouped on your $250 investment, that is a substantial loss, and that puts people off to grading. And that's why some of these cards have such high premiums, because not a lot of people can send 12 $250 cards to PSA and risk $50 losses on the majority of them. But if you are in a good financial situation and you're doing this as a business, you need to see yourself as the casino. You have the odds. You have the edge against the market and PSA. So don't be scared to send some of those cards that may be a little 50-50 on centering, may have a white dot here and there. And now I'm going to show you some real world examples that I've graded. So in the last couple of submissions, I've tried to take some notes on cards that I thought, hey, here's a defect. I don't know if I want to send it. So for this Blastoise EX, I noticed that there was a little white dot on the back of the card up at the top. Now you can see it right here. Not this is on the case, but this little white dot, a little bit of wear. I was like, Japanese card. I think they're going to grade any kind of whitening like that pretty harsh. But, it ended up getting a PSA 10. This Giratina V, if you look at the back, it's pretty top heavy. Like, look at the difference between the widths here and there. It looks pretty off-center to me, but the card was clean otherwise. And lo and behold, it comes back from PSA as a 10. Now let's take a look at this Umbreon V. It has a very distinct ink dot on the back. You can see right here, this little ink dot. Otherwise, it was perfect. So that almost held me back from sending it to PSA. But there goes and gets a 10. Now I'm just showing you the ones that got 10s. Obviously, some of those 50-50 cards are coming back 9s. So this one, I did in my notes say that it was a little bottom heavy, and I'm assuming that is why this Mew EX got the PSA 9. Okay, so now I'm going to go through my most recent grading submission. This is what you can expect when you're sending those 50-50 cards, knowing that you will be profiting more if you get the gem rate that PSA is advertising. So this one was kind of an experiment. So I noticed that when I got this card, it was missing a bunch of ink. And I thought it looked kind of cool. I was hoping PSA would grade it, maybe give it some kind of disclaimer, error. But lo and behold, they actually did not end up grading it. Sent some Japanese Radiant Charizards. I got a 10 on this Empoleon V, 9 on this one, 9 on this Radiant Blastoise, 10 on this one. Unfortunately, both of these Galarian Zapdos Vs received 9s, and one of them I didn't know had some whitening at the bottom. So there you go. So there is this little white dot. That could be the reason why I got the 9. This one's a little bottom heavy. That could be why that one got the 9. 2 10s on these 2 Archaludons. 9 on Meowth. Japanese is rough. 10 on the other one. Now I sent about 6 of these Pikachu Scarlet Violet pre-order Japanese cards, and they all got 10s, fortunately. Again, Japanese are pretty easy grades. Snorlax VMAX got the 10. Surfing Pikachu, 10, 10. The 9 Rainbow Snorlax VMAX. Also got the 10. Got 110 Lucario V-Star, and I got 1-9. Now these Pikachus from Crown Zenith are tough grades, and I knew that if I got one of them as a 10, it'd be worth it. But fortunately, I did get the 110, 2 9s. This Mew X is a tough 9. Sent 2 of these Kingdra EXs, and again, the gem rate on this one is probably pretty low, like somewhere in the 20-30%. So I decided to risk it. I was hoping one of them would get a 10. Neither did. It's fine. Just gotta trust that in the long run, you have the edge over the market. Yeah, I have no idea why this one got an 8. I looked at it. It looks fine. I ended up selling it to PSA anyway, so we'll never know. But you know, this stuff happens. You have to roll with the punches. In the long run, you will get those 10s. You will make the profits. And you have to take these 8s and the 9s on the chin and just keep rolling. Again, 110, 19, 10 on the Zacian V. Now, I did take a note for this one that it was off-center. You can see it's a little bottom-heavy. Sometimes it's really tough grading these GXs with this black line running through the border. It makes centering that much harder. It's really hard to find like a perfectly centered GX card. Did get the 9 on the Dark Charizard, and I knew it would be a 9 at best because of the centering. But otherwise, I was pretty clean, pretty happy with that. This one will be going into my personal collection. 10 on the Yanmega, 10 on the Crobat, 10 on the Crobat. This tough 9. For some reason, I've graded like 3 of these and they've all gotten 9s. 10, 9. Again, this one, any illustration rare from the Scarlet Violet era is going to be tough to grade. 9 on the Gyarados VMAX. Now that's rough. You know, Sword and Shield, Evolving Skies, pretty good print quality. Got a 10 on the Glaceon though. I knew this would get a 7. I just wanted it for my personal collection, hoping for like an 8 max, but I'm fine with the 7. Beautiful card. 10 on the Raging Bolt. Unfortunate 9 on the Jolteon. I've not had good luck grading these Terastal Festival cards. 9 on the Suicune is tough. Man, this card is going to be for my personal collection. Still will be, but I wish it was just going to be a 10. 9 on the Mallow. I knew that was going to be a stretch. Yeah, this is a tough 9. I believe I wrote in my notes that it was off-centered, and you can see it's kind of slanted. This side is thinner than this side up here. I'm assuming that's why I got the 9. All of these Master Ball reverses from 151. Japanese got the 10s. 110, 19. Man, I did not have too much luck on the Japanese cards in this submission. Typically, I get like 1 9 out of, a dozen Japanese cards. Fortunately, those both got 10s. Pikachu VMAX in a 10. Blaziken VMAX in a 10. I like this card. This Pikachu in a 10. Fortunately, the bigger Japanese cards in the submission did get the 10s. I like that card. Mewtwo V-Star in a 9. I thought this would get a 10. I didn't have any notes. Looking at it, it's a little bit off center, left, right. That could be it. I got a 10 on the Mimikyu V, which is nice. Lucario V 10. I thought this would get a 9. Outshot it at 10. I wanted the 9 for my collection either way, so I thought might as well just send it in. This is my first 0.5 grade. So I thought this Venusaur had a chance at a 9. Thought I was going to get an 8 or 9. Split it right down the middle, 8.5. I did accept PSA's offer, though I thought trying to sell an 8.5 would be just too difficult. And they gave me a good offer, so fine with taking the PSA offers. Oh, this one hurt. I really wanted it to be a 9. I bought it from a collection from Facebook Marketplace, and it looked really clean. looking at it on the scan, it does look off center, left to right, so unlucky. But I was lucky enough to get this Gastly to 10. Now this one is a hard grade. I think it's about a 20 to 30% gem rate, so happy that I got that one. So as you can see, don't always get the PSA 10. Get 9s, 8s, all the way down to 2s on cards, and it's just part of the grading process. A10s. Have a little fun. Send the one that's off center. Send the one with the white dot. You might be surprised.